Hello, my name is Patrick Lloyd, and I am the instructor for the General Chemistry 2 course this summer at Kingsborough Community College, Section 10, S10 for the summer. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to talk about the syllabus, the lecture syllabus for the course. So let me bring that up on the screen so we can look at it together. Here we go. Okay. So the section is S10 and the laboratory component is S10L. And this is an online asynchronous course. So you'll be studying pretty much on your own according to some due dates and a time schedule. And I first want to get you to the point where you know how to contact me in case you have questions or want some tutoring. So the best way to contact me is really by phone, in particular using any kind of the messaging apps. So my phone number, my cell number is 347-249-5676. That's right here. And I do have several messaging apps. You can use regular text messaging. I have WhatsApp, I have Signal, and I have Telegram. Those are essentially the four that I have. You can also reach me by email. I do check my email at least once a day, sometimes twice. I would recommend that you use this email address as opposed to the Kingsborough one. If you do use the Kingsborough one, it may take longer for me to get back to you, particularly on the weekends. Okay. If you wish to talk to me off campus, I do have Zoom. Here's my meeting ID, 761-534-4943. with the password MEET, all lowercase. I also have a YouTube page which you can reach at just by typing in the search Exploding Chemistry Patrick Lloyd. Okay. If you text me in off hours, I may not get back to you immediately, but it's okay. It's okay to text anytime. I just may not get back to you until the next day. Okay. Let's take a look. So this is asynchronous, so we won't be having live meetings. So if you do want to talk live, we'll have to arrange some sort of office hours, okay? Which is possible, I am around. If you want to have a course that meets in person, we do have a section running during the day. And you can reach Viola Evans, and she has the email address here and her phone number if you want to arrange to be able to take an in-person course, okay? Again, my office hours, we can arrange them individually. This is the contact information on Zoom. I will be on campus a little bit this summer. So if you do happen to be on campus for another course or something, there may be a way to arrange a meeting on campus as well. Okay. So obviously, since this is an asynchronous online course, you need all the equipment, right? So computer, tablet, smartphone, all high-speed internet access, all of that. I would recommend that you have it all. Have an iPad, a smartphone, and also a laptop or a desktop computer. You want to have it all. I would recommend also that you have a scientific calculator. It's much easier to do calculations on a calculator with your fingers than it is to do it on a screen. And number 3 in this list is the course learning system and e-textbook, which is called ALEX and is owned by McGraw-Hill, which is a major publishing firm, but they link it on the internet as alex.com. Okay, you can purchase ALEX through the bookstore on campus, but you can also get it more inexpensively, cheaper yourself just by going to alex.com. It's actually, the price has gone up a little bit. It says here it's $88, but actually that might be right. I think it's still $88 through the summer. In the fall, it's going up to like $91 or $92, but I think in the summer it's still $88. If you already had it from Chem 11 or Chem 100, within the last year, it should still be good. You should have purchased a 1-year access or 52-week access. So if you bought it, anytime from last fall, it should still be good. You just create a new course. Okay. The textbook we're using is Chemistry 5th edition by Julie Burge, also published by McGraw-Hill. You can get older editions on bookfinder.com or eBay or Amazon. Bookfinder.com is pretty good because it actually goes through all of the different companies and looks for prices. And I would recommend an older version, a 3rd or 4th edition. We are using the 5th edition, but if you want a physical copy, 3rd or 4th is fine. When you purchase Alex, the ebook is included. So you have an electronic version, web-based. It's web-based. It's not a PDF, although I think you can select certain pages and convert them to PDF, but it's not a PDF book. So essentially you have to use your browser to read it. But that textbook is available. If you do want to have any meetings with me on Zoom, here's a little link on YouTube in terms of how to access Zoom. Here is a link to a video on how to register for Alex. If you don't have an account on Alex, it's pretty simple to create one. You go to alex.com, you just select on the new student sign up now, and then you enter in the class code, which is a 10-digit code. The 10-digit code for this class is right here, the 94XAY HFXQ3. That's the code you need to enter in so that they know that you're in my course, so that you're going to have my homework assignments and my exam assignments. Okay, so make sure you put that code in. If you're watching a video and it's an old video, it will probably have an old code in it. So just be careful, use this code. It's Chemistry 2, Summer 2022, Section 10. And then the dates are June 13th. Technically classes don't start until I think the 21st or so, Wednesday. But it goes through 8/6, which is August 6th. Okay, that will be the end point. You won't be able to submit any work after August 6th. Okay, so there's your kind of deadline there for the end of the course. All right. And if you did take it, if you bought Alex before in the last year, then you don't need to buy it again. So just make sure that you have your old account, with your username, and then you can just add a new course to it. Okay. So I noticed here it says the cost is $91. So it's around 88 or 91, somewhere around there, around $90. It's good for a year. If you need a few days or even up to 2 weeks to purchase it, you need to get the money together. You can use this 20-digit code right here, which is called a financial aid. It's not really financial aid. It's really just a delaying process. You can use the software for up to 2 weeks before purchasing it. And you'll still need to purchase it after the 2 weeks, but you can put this code in. This is essentially a purchase code, right? So like when you buy Alex, you'll get a 20-digit code that you enter in. This is essentially that, but it's one that Alex created, and Alex understands it's a 2-week code. Okay. Does not add 2 weeks to the end of your purchase. Okay. Software that you need, well, I'm going to put announcements on Blackboard. They will also be emailed to you, but quite frankly, a lot of students don't check their Kingsborough email accounts. So if you don't check your email account on Kingsborough regularly, then what I would recommend is you look for announcements on the Blackboard site. I do have a Blackboard site. I'm just going to put announcements up there and some documents. Laboratory report documents will be in there, and the syllabus, but that's pretty much it. It's just going to be, don't look for your grades there. For the most part, you can tell what your grade is just by looking at Alex. Okay. If you do have any technical issues, you can contact IT at Kingsborough. Laboratory reports will be done on a word processing package like Microsoft Word. If you need to email me, well, you will need to email me at some point to submit lab reports. So email program, you need to have that. And then Zoom. Okay. Let's see. Here's the topics that we're going to cover. We're in a pretty accelerated time period here. We only have 6 weeks. And obviously there's no summer break like there's a spring break. So we just have 6 weeks, really, quite frankly. And so there's just 6 chapters, 1 chapter a week. We're going to go through 1 chapter a week. There will be some deadlines that you have to meet. So make sure that you're really hit the ground running, right? You really got to get going fast because you only have 6 weeks to finish everything, and you have to hit these due dates. Okay. So the first thing we're going to cover is chapter 14, which is called Kinetics, the first 7 sections. Week 2, we're going to go on to chapter 15. Week 3, we're going to go on to chapter 16, and so forth and so on. So we're going to end at chapter 19, which is entropy, free energy, and equilibrium. Okay. Each chapter has problems to help you within the textbook. This is within the textbook. They're called sample problems. They're worked out examples. And, like I said, if you have a physical copy of the book, that can be helpful for looking at stuff, but it's also in the ebook. So these sample problems are in the ebook. They have practice problems in the ebook throughout the chapter. You can go ahead and do those. I have a list of problems that I would recommend at the end. To be honest with you, most students, essentially, because the graded work is done on ALEX, they focus mainly on the ALEX homework assignments. So these are all problems here you can work on in terms of the textbook, but mainly most people are working on the ALEX problems because that's what gets graded. There are a bunch of videos that I've produced, and I'm still producing them now, and hopefully they're getting better. But each chapter has a link here in the syllabus to different video selections. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. You don't have to do 20 or 25 in this course, okay? So you can also look for them under Explode. I recommend you just go ahead and subscribe so that you can see if new ones come up and such. But each chapter has a link. And the ones up at the top, actually, let me bring up so you can sort of see this. Bring up. Okay. So let me come over here so you can see this. So again, if you just put in Exploding Chemistry, Patrick Lloyd, you'll see my videos. There's 536 videos, but more than half of those are for the other course, Chemistry 11. But if you click on here, you'll see there's a bunch of videos over here, right? So if you could look at the playlists, what you'll find is, it's a little awkward that way, right? Because it's like everything is kind of together. So it's not real cataloged real well. So what I would recommend doing is if you come over to videos, you'll see the most recent ones. So these are the ones that I've been putting up. So see how many there are on chapter 17. It's quite a bit on chapter 17. So, there's a lot there. So let me do the following. I'm going to come up to the syllabus. Okay, so let me bring this up so you can see it. There we go. And I'm going to try to. So here's chapter 14. There we go. So, those links in the syllabus are pretty good. So here's chapter 14. So the first video is section 1. So these are sections. So chapter 14, section 1. And I'm putting them, at least I'm trying to put them in order that you're doing the homework through the chapter. So the first video here is on section 1. And the second one is on section 2. And the third one is on section 3, and so forth and so on. And actually, you only need to go through section 5. That'll be pretty much the end of that. Now, there are also some other videos in there. So there's also from the textbook. I've made some videos discussing those sections. So there's those. And then from the sample problems in the textbook, I've also got some videos on those as well. So lots of problems there, but the main ones are up at the top. So 14.1 through 14.5. Some of the videos are a little long. They're 50 minutes or so. But some of them are a little bit shorter as well. So hopefully, let me bring this up. Hopefully that will help you watching those videos. I mean, to be honest with you, what I recommend doing is watch a video for the section and then do the Alex problems. You know, just to watch the video, do the problems, and then you can refer back to the videos. Many of those videos, actually pretty much all of them, are me solving Alex problems for you. So I'm just going through the problem, almost like a math course, right? So I give some theory. This particular course, is theory, but it's mainly calculation. You're mainly doing calculations in this course. You're doing the theory is sort of the analysis of how you set up these problems. But if you look back at General Chemistry 1, what did you do in there? You learned about atoms and molecules, how to weigh them, how to do calculations with masses. Then you looked at chemical reactions, right? Like acids and base reactions, redox reactions. Then you looked at gas pressure and gas calculations, and then energy. Well, what you're going to do here is you're going to cover some of the same topics. So you're going to cover redox chemistry. You're going to cover acid-base chemistry. But we're going to go more in depth into the calculations. So it's a very quantitative aspect of this. And so a lot of those videos are really over the issue of how we do calculations, you know, of these chemical situations. Okay, so let me bring the syllabus back up. So currently, you know, as this video is being made, I just finished chapter 17, some updated videos on there, and then I'm going to continue putting up some 18 and 19, but all the material is up there. Okay. Now let's talk about the homework, because the homework is the vast majority of your grade. Okay. So in many science courses, you may expect, oh, you know, 20% of my grade is the final exam, and 2 midterms, each of which is worth, you know, 20% of my grade. So 20, 20, 20, 60. So 60% of your grade is 3 exams. That doesn't work quite that way in here. Most of your grades here are homework. Okay, and there are deadlines, there are due dates for these homeworks. So make sure you meet the deadlines. So Alex is based on the following idea. There's some problems that have been made that are designed to get you to understand the material. And to show that you understand the material, you have to do a problem right 3 times. And if you get it wrong, let's say after the 2nd time, you then have to go back and do it an extra time. So you have to do it 4 times. And if you get it wrong again, then you have to do it 5. You know, so like you have to keep doing it more and more. So it's really to reinforce your understanding that you're not just guessing, or you're not just like kind of understand it, but don't understand it very well. So it's broken up in the following way. The language is that an assignment is not called an assignment, it's called an objective. An objective is a chapter with a bunch of problems in it. So it's a problem set. Okay. So you'll have, I think it's 6 objectives, 1 for each chapter. Think of that as a problem set. Each of the problems in that set is called a topic. So each objective has multiple topics. So if you look here at chapter 14, that's your first objective, chapter 14, kinetics. It has 16 topics and it has a due date. Okay, so notice the due date is Thursday, June 30th at midnight. So make sure you're done by that time. Otherwise, you get a reduced grade for your work. Okay, so Thursday, June 30th, midnight. You got to get that one done. After midnight, what happens is the second assignment, the second objective pops up, and you will not be allowed to work on that first objective. Okay, so make sure you get it done by then. Get done whatever you can. All right. If you look at it, it adds up somewhere around 85 topics or something like that for the course. But remember, each one you have to get it right 3 times. So it's like close to 300 problems you got to get right. So you'll solve a lot of problems. So 1 each week. As I said, we don't have much time here. We only have 6 weeks, so it's going to be 1 per chapter. Okay. So I would recommend you start them early, finish them early, then start working on the next one. Okay. If you push it off to the last minute, you will not finish. Okay, guaranteed. Unless you're a genius, which you might be a genius. So there are geniuses out there. Okay, so that's the homework. There's some details in here about how it's graded. So for example, within a chapter, let's say there's 16 topics and you get 12 of them done. Well, you're going to get 75%. 12 over 16 is 3/4. That's 75%. Okay, so you get a score of 75. That's fine. There are a couple of what we call knowledge checks. One at the beginning, which is called the initial knowledge check. So that's discussed here. So the knowledge check is a way to figure out what you know. So here's how it works. There's an initial knowledge check. Don't cheat on it. Just be honest about it. It's essentially going to assess what you know already. And if you already know things, it's going to give you credit for knowing them. But the problem is if you try to Google answers and research them, what you'll do is you'll end up biasing the software to thinking that you know a lot of stuff that you don't, and then it'll give you problems that are really challenging. You'll have to start all over. So just be honest, take a calculator, pencil and paper, and just work through the problems. And if you don't know, just say, I don't know. And it's going to be, I think it's 20 questions at the beginning. And it's just going to assess your knowledge. You won't know most of them because it's unlikely you already know how to do kinetics calculations or chemical equilibrium calculations. If you do, that's fine, but it's unlikely you do. So don't expect that you'll do well on that initial knowledge check. It doesn't affect your grade. It just sets up your homework assignments. Okay. There will be a couple of knowledge checks later on though, after chapter 15 and after chapter 17. Those ones you want to really do well on. Because if you don't do well on them, if there are problems you don't know how to do from the earlier material, it's going to bring those problems up to have you work on them some more to boost up your understanding of that earlier material. Okay, so take them seriously. The pie progress is just a way of it showing you how you're doing in the course of the idea is there's 86. Okay, it's 86 topics. It's going to show a little pie and break them up into little sections, how far you're getting done. By the end of the course, hopefully you have all 86 topics done and the pie would be complete. It would be a complete topic. Okay. Now keep in mind they do talk a little bit in the ALEX about understanding versus mastery. You don't have to have mastery to get credit for the homework. Mastery just is suggesting, yeah, you've done the problems, but you've also done a knowledge check and got it completely right again. So you really have mastered this material. It doesn't affect your grades. So, if you're someone that wants to do well, you want to master these materials. But if you happen to do understanding but not mastery, don't worry, it's not going to affect your grade. Okay, so make sure that you get the stuff done on time. That's the main thing. Okay. There are also ALEX exams, and ALEX exams, there are 6 of them, 1 for each chapter. And they also have due dates. It's the same due date as the homework. I linked them, I synchronized them so that they're the same. So make sure your exams are done by then. I recommend taking them, at least the morning of the day. Don't put it off till the due date, because then what happens is some emergency hits and you can't do it. So these are fixed dates. They're not flexible. You have to have them done by these times. Okay. There are 6 of them. You can take them anytime before that due date. I had a student in the spring of 2022 who finished every exam and every homework assignment, every objective, 7 weeks into the semester. So, she still came to class, but she had everything done weeks early. So you can get stuff done early if you want to. If you find that there's going to be some week where you're going to be really busy, then do that week's material a week early. Okay. So what are the exams like? Well, they are generally around 9 or 10 questions, and they are problems very similar to the homework assignments, to the objectives. Okay. So the objectives might have, 12 to 20 problems. The exams are shorter. You only have an hour to do it though. Okay, so you have 1 hour, so you have to really pace yourself and do it quickly. Okay, very similar type problems. Again, the due dates are here. Make sure you got those set. One problem on the ALEX, what I would identify as a problem on ALEX is their calendar. They have a calendar function. The calendar function, it defaults to, I think, a 1 week or 2 week view. So you don't see stuff weeks in advance. If you switch it to the month long, you'll see stuff more in the future, which could be helpful. Okay, so due dates. There are practice exams. I posted a bunch of, like, one practice exam for every exam, and the dates on the practice exams are wide open. You can do them whenever. They do not count for your grade, okay? So they're just there for you to practice more problems. Okay. When you take the test, the ebook is not available, okay? Just so you know that. And there is no separate final exam. So once you finish the 6th exam, that's the last exam you're going to take. So 1 exam for each chapter. The grading for the course is essentially set up to prioritize the homework. So there's the pie and the objectives. And so how much of the pie did you finish? If you finished 100% of the pie, 86 topics, then you get 100% there. Multiply that by 0.4667, that'll give you a score for the pie. Finishing each objective on time, finishing all of them, same thing. 0.2333 times your percentage. You just do the average of your objective scores. You'll have one for each objective, you just take the average. The laboratory is 15% of the course grade. So you take your average score on the laboratories and multiply that by 0.15. Add those 3 numbers to, the exam, I'm sorry, I forgot the exam. The exams all together are 15%. So just take all your exam scores and average them, and then multiply that by 0.15, that'll give you your exam contribution. Add those 4, that gives you your total. A is 88 to 100, B is 75 to 87, C is 50 to 74, and then below 50 is an F. Okay, I don't generally give Ds. There are no pluses or minuses as well. Okay. So you should be able to calculate your grade throughout the semester. Okay. Again, there are problems in the ebook that you can do for more practice. Sometimes they're a little easier than the ALEX problems, so they're a good way to get started. That's up to you. These are optional. They're not going to be graded. The ALEX is what gets graded, but there are some problems here you can try. Okay. Here are some links to Kingsborough support. This is an important one, the ALEX support. They have an 800 number, and they have a link here for support, for online support. And then there's some more, other links here as well. But ALEX, I believe, is open 7 days, but not all day. So like on the weekends, they're open, but they're open limited hours. They are in the Midwest. They are central time zone, so they're off an hour. So if it's 9 o'clock here, they may not be open, but people in the Midwest tend to get up pretty early. So even if it's 9 o'clock here, it's 8 there, they might actually be working. But you can contact them with technical questions about ALEX. Okay. And then these are just some learning outcomes for the course. Okay. I only have a couple here. Frequently asked questions. Online practice exams, nope, they're not mandatory. You don't have to do them. They don't count for your grade. And can you do things late? Nope, can't do things late. Got to have them done by the due date. Okay. So even if you're feeling like kind of weak on a topic and you feel like you're not really ready for the exam, take it anyways, right? It's better to get some credit than none. I will point out a little bit about the exams. I do tend to adjust the scores a little bit, because what happens with the exams is ALEX is very rigorous about grading. So if there's a question that has 4 parts and you get 1 part wrong, it gives you 0. So generally a few days after the exam due date, I go back and I look through the exams, and if there's like multiple parts and you got 2 parts out of 4 parts right, I'll give you credit for the parts you got right. So there is some partial credit that ALEX doesn't initially give you. Likewise, if your significant digits are off a little bit, sometimes we'll mark you as a 0. Also, I will go back and look at those as well. Okay. So there you go. So this is all about the lecture. I haven't talked about the laboratory because I'm going to talk about that separately. Now, the main thing is to focus on the lecture. So get your Alex account started, register for the course, do the initial work on that, watch some of the initial videos on chapter 14, and then just start working on chapter 14, which is kinetics. Okay. Reach out to me if you have any questions, and good luck this summer. I hope everything works out for you well, and I'm looking forward to seeing how you do in this course. Take care.